Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for a Leicester City versus Chelsea preview. Massive game tonight for the Blues in the Premier League at the King Power Stadium. I'm going to take you guys on another little walk for the first time in quite a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks actually. I feel like I've got energy back today, you know? And it just so happens to be on a massive match day. Leicester away is a real test for Chelsea, considering how sketchy our form has been now for quite some time. Even the performance against Fulham doesn't leave me as confident as I would like to be going into this kind of big game. Leicester are as much in the title conversation as anybody right now. If you look at the table, I'll put it up on the screen for you guys now. It is all very close in the Premier League, and Chelsea know that if we want to be in the top four conversation, considering how many points we've recently dropped over the course of the past couple of months, this is the kind of game where we need to be going there, making a statement of our intent, putting in a good performance, and above all else again, when it is so tentative at the moment, when, if you watch the 6 Things We Learned video that I posted yesterday, I talked a lot about the style of what Chelsea are trying to do and how there is a massive lack of style right now within Chelsea's play. This is the kind of game where, again, even if we grind out a result and don't play the best football, 3 points is literally all I want from this game. It's not going to be easy. Leicester have been in good form. Brendan Rodgers has got them playing some nice football. And even he, when he does his interviews post-match now, he says he wants more from his Leicester team, which shows the confidence that he has in his players, shows the confidence they have as a football club, and this is a massive test for Chelsea. So I'm going to keep walking, take a little stroll towards the beach. I'm probably going to put you guys on a ledge somewhere and stay here and talk to you guys for a little while, but we're going to start straight away with building my team today, and it's a tough one, you know, because N'Golo Kante is injured, so he's still out, so I think any chances that we might have had of seeing a 4-2-3-1 are still going to have to wait until N'Golo Kante is back fit. I'm going to put you guys right here in this little ledge and have a little chat to you all. So, based off of the fact that N'Golo Kante is not going to be fit and ready for this game, we start off with a goalkeeper. Not that Kante has anything to do with who Frank Lampard puts between the bloody sticks. Edouard Mendy is the goalkeeper again. Kepa, is he going to get a move away this January? I feel like the conversation is pretty much always the same when it comes to building the team from the goalkeeper. Kepa Arrizabalaga, £72 million goalkeeper, on the bench every single week. Mendy, little bit on him. Confidence-wise, I've lost that early season confidence I had in Mendy. He was almost a massive calamity, to be honest. It wasn't fully Mendy's fault at the weekend where Chelsea, little back pass, Mendy kind of falls over and then we somehow manage to get it away. Good block from Thiago Silva. Stuff like that does seem to happen a little bit more than it used to. And I think a lot of that is not just down to the confidence of the keeper, but overall the confidence of the team. You know, when Chelsea are playing passes at the moment, be it around the back or from the back going forward, we're not playing with the same kind of edge and swagger that we were when we were on that unbeaten run. Ever since that first defeat, it's kind of gone downhill. Chelsea's weaknesses have been exposed. And I wouldn't say that Mendy is necessarily a weakness right now for us, but it's not a position that I was or I am as confident in now as I was a couple of months ago. However, we move into a back line that starts off with the return again of Reece James. I think Reece James's performances this season have been very big for Chelsea. We know that whatever style we do have right now, one of the biggest game plans that we do have in our arsenal is getting the ball out to the wing, crossing it in. Reece James has developed a lot this season, not only going forward and that fantastic ability he does have to put a ball into the box, but defensively, the guy is an absolute unit, you know, at the back. He's massive, he makes big tackles, he does good blocks as well. And I think Reece James being back in the Chelsea team will be a massive boost to the starting 11. We move across the back line, and it is 2 centre-backs, and of course, it's Thiago Silva and Kurt Zouma. Rudiger was in the side the other day, and I think Zouma will be back and ready for this one, and I think it's important that he is. Thiago Silva, I think still, despite there being a lot of negativity surrounding Chelsea and the way we play and some of the goals we concede recently, despite that, it's 2 clean sheets on the bounce, and I think despite maybe some stuttery form from the entire defence, I think Thiago Silva's shown why he should always be considered in the Chelsea starting 11 this season. There's a lot of transfer news at the moment regarding Chelsea and potentially activating the release clause of Upamecano from RB Leipzig, who is a very good defender, and at 40 million, which is the release clause, it would be an absolute steal for anybody and everybody who tries to go in for him. I think in terms of Chelsea's long-term centre-back solutions as to how we build this team moving forward, whether it's under Frank Lampard or whoever takes over from Lampard, if he is indeed going to be sacked or if he loses his job, which there's still a lot of talk about it. I don't want to entertain it in this one today because it's all about the match against Leicester. But I think Thiago Silva, we know, 36 years old. He's not going to be there forever, but at the moment, I think it is still one of the best signings in the Premier League this season. Kurt Zouma alongside him, he's been very good for the majority of the season, and I think it's a good, solid partnership. We move into the left back, and it is, of course, Mr. Ben Chilwell. There's an ant who keeps almost going over the lens of the camera. That'd be quite funny if he did. But Ben Chilwell, playing against his former club, back to the King Power Stadium, a stadium that he knows very well. And it's always an interesting one with players returning to their former clubs, because you wonder if the occasion's going to overwhelm them, or if they're going to maybe try and do something to show the team that he left what they're missing. But Ben Chilwell, I think, is a very solid professional. I think sometimes he makes decisions that aren't necessarily the smartest, such as at the weekend when he tried to put the ball in the box when all he really needed to do was run it to the corner flag and wind the clock down. Bit of time wasting, as Football Manager says to do, on the tactics page. But I don't think there's any worries there. Ben Chilwell, we know that he's made a good start to his Chelsea career. I would have said earlier on this season, I did say earlier on this season, that I think for large portions of what we've seen so far in the first 18 games, Chilwell's been our best player. And I think obviously now it's looking likely that Alonso might not ever play for Chelsea again. Emerson, it's not really a conversation to be who's going to be starting this game. It's always going to be Ben Chilwell. We move into the fascinating part of the field right now for Chelsea. It's the centre of the park and the forwards. And again today, despite wanting to see a 4-2-3-1, it all comes down to N'Golo Kante being fit and having a partner next to him. But without Kante, I don't think the 4-2-3-1 is going to work. I don't know if there's enough quality and strength in the Chelsea midfield to warrant going for a 4-2-3-1 without a fully fit N'Golo Kante in the side. So, based off of that, this is such a tough one, but I want to give the go-ahead for Mateo Kovacic to play in front of the defence on his own. There is a big question about whether or not he can actually do that role that Kante does on his own so well. Can Mateo Kovacic actually do that? Kovacic, if I could say my bloody words correctly. I think this is the kind of game where we're going to need a bit of strength in the middle. Leicester are very good going forward. We need someone who can break up that play centrally, dribble forward with the ball, and we know that Kovacic is very good when he's in possession. And I think it would be a very good chance for him today to show that if Kante's not always going to be available, he's not the right side of his 20s, he's 30 now, so it's at this point where Chelsea will need to be looking at long-term replacements for Kante, considering the way that Kante plays. Is he going to be able to play at this top level to the best of his ability that we've seen over the past 5 years? Is he going to be able to do that for the next 5 years? Probably not. So it is a position in the pitch where Chelsea do have Billy Gilmour coming up, but I think this kind of game, considering Billy didn't get the start of the weekend against Fulham, I think it shows that maybe Lampard isn't sure if Gilmour is ready to play in that role on his own just yet. So for that reason, I've gone with Mateo Kovacic playing in front of the defence with 2 number 8s, and I've given the number 8 positions to, this is a tough one, this is a very tough one, Hakim Ziyech playing on the right-hand side of a midfield 3, and Mason Mount. It was between Ziyech and Havertz. Did I drop Ziyech to make way for Callum Hudson-Odoi, who I'll put in on the right wing right now? It's one of those where you know that Ziyech has got that moment of quality. I wouldn't say that he's necessarily lacking in confidence right now the same way that some other players are. And I think seeing Ziyech play in a more deeper position, it not only gives us the opportunity to play both Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic on the wings with the striker that we're going to go into in a moment, but I think it is a way that Chelsea could maybe be a little bit more direct through the middle, as opposed to always going out on the wings. I think we can see Ziyech ghosting if he's playing towards that right touchline. Callum Hudson-Odoi, we know, has got a very good defensive work rate these days. Reece James on that right-hand side as well. I think with James, Ziyech on the right-hand side of the midfield 3, and then Callum Hudson-Odoi, I think there could be a lot of productivity that Chelsea can go with there, not just down the wing, but also from the right-hand side of the pitch, but not just going down the flipping wing and crossing in the ball that we've seen us do so frequently. As for the striker, it's so tough at the moment, you know. Chelsea are being linked with Erling Haaland. I'm going to be filming a video tomorrow where I talk to a certain transfer genius about that deal. I haven't addressed it yet on the GBFC channel, but it's the kind of signing where you'd wonder if it would be the end of Tammy Abraham's career at Chelsea. Does Frank Lampard fully trust Tammy Abraham to be his leading striker? I don't know. You know, he started with Olivier Giroud at Fulham, which kind of does make sense if we're still doing the 4-3-3, the ball's going, Olivier Giroud's good in the air. We know all of these little facts, but I'm starting with Timo Werner. It's a tough one because in terms of the way that these players have been playing in the Premier League, does Timo Werner deserve to start? No, not really. But the fact that Lampard does keep chopping and changing it at the moment, Giroud, I don't think it was his best game at the weekend against Fulham. This is such a tough one, you know, because I think there is, in my head, what do I think Lampard's going to do and what do I think is the right thing to do moving forward. I think this is a big game and I just want to keep giving Werner the chances, you know. There's a lot of people right now that are writing him off at Chelsea. There's a lot of negative spiel about Werner in the press and amongst Chelsea fans. There's always negative spiel with Chelsea fans and any football club fans when it's not going well for your team. It could be literally roll the dice, a three-sided dice. Is that even bloody possible? I don't know. But it could be Giroud, Tammy or Werner at this point. I think it probably will be Giroud. But if it was me, I'd be picking Timo Werner. There's also another big debate that we missed out in the middle, which is whether Jorginho starts again. Personally, it's at this point now where I'm not trying to build my team to purposely conflict with what I think Lampard's actually going to do, but I don't see it. What the hell is that? I think there's a snake or something in these bushes beneath me. That's a little bit dangerous. I don't know if what Jorginho really brings in a benefit to this Chelsea team right now. Yes, positionally, maybe defensively, he's a bit more solid than maybe a Kovacic in that position that I've given him today. It's a tough one. It's very hard to predict Chelsea lineups right now. It's very hard to know what we want to do moving forward, if Frank Lampard's going to keep with a 4-3-3. Is he ever going to change it to something that we've suggested recently? I have absolutely no idea at this moment in time. I think game by game, Chelsea need to adapt depending on who's available, who's in form. This is going to be a very, very tough match. I don't want to approach it with too much pessimism, but I think this could be a draw. I think it's going to finish 2-2. It's a very, very tough game. I think a draw wouldn't be the worst result, but as I said at the beginning of the video when we started walking, Chelsea need to be winning these games now. You know, we're 7th in the Premier League table. We need to be in the bare minimum in the top 4 again. We can't go backwards after spending all this money, but I don't think we're going to get the win tonight. I really bloody hope that we do. If we do, it's going to be a very joyous 6 things we learn. I'm going to be going to bed early, getting up at 4 in the bloody morning to watch it. There will be 6 things we learn out straight after the game tomorrow, so don't worry about that. 2-2 is my prediction. Let me know your thoughts on my starting 11 and your score prediction in the comments below. Massive game. We need a win. Come on, you Blues.